Everyone, welcome to the Roadmap, Benzinga's NFT show. We've had great teams, great interviews, past episodes. We talked to the teams behind Pixel Vault, Art Blocks, Robotos, the Doge Pound, Oniforce, Crypto Dads, Lazy Lions, Sappy Seals, and more. We also gave away an NFT, and we have NFT giveaways and merch coming soon. Today's episode, I'm super excited about. You guys have been asking about it. When are we going to cover more Solana NFTs? Well, I got great news. We have an expert in Solana NFTs joining us on the show today. So we will dive into that world and hear all about how that works and why you should be excited. Everyone stay tuned. This is the Roadmap. All right, everyone, as you heard me say, we are the Roadmap, Benzinga's NFT show. Quick ask from everyone. Go ahead, smash that like button. Let us know that you are here. Subscribe to Benzinga's YouTube channel if you are watching us live right now. And also leave a comment in the chat. Let us know that you're here. Your comments will appear live on screen during today's episode. Also want to shout out anyone who is watching or listening to this video after we aired live at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and to all our podcast listeners. We love and thank you for your support as well. And I also want to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, FTX US. They are one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world in terms of trading volume and daily users. The FTX app is used by over 6 million people to buy crypto and NFTs. No transaction or withdrawal fees from your phone or computer. They offer NFT trading on the Ethereum and Solana blockchains with no gas fees. You can learn more about the FTX app by clicking on the link in the description below and also pinned to the chat. If you have not checked out FTX yet, make sure you go and visit and see what they are all about. And again, a big shout out to FTX, today's show sponsor. And speaking of today's show, it's that time where I bring on co-host Brian Moir. Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Just excited for this one. I'm ready to learn more about Solana and their whole ecosystem and how they can kind of take over the NFT space.
Yeah, you and me both. I mean, Brian, I got my start in NFTs from NBA Top Shot, right, which is on the Flow blockchain, a different vehicle than Ethereum, right? And then I got into NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. And oh man, did I learn quickly what gas fees were, right? Yeah. And how you have to pay more than the mint price. And that was a real life, learning lesson. And I am excited to hear more about Solana NFTs. Definitely an area I'm excited to get into and diversify my NFT collection, and also hear about, a huge difference in fees associated with those NFTs. So yeah, big shout out to our chat, everyone there popping in with the messages. Looks like we got some fans here for today's guest. So Brian, I think it is time that we go ahead and bring on, I'm so excited about today's episode. We wanted to talk about Solana NFTs. So what better way than to bring on Legend? So you may know him as Solana Legend on Twitter. We know him as Legend. So welcome to the Roadmap, Legend. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course, we're so excited to have you on. Like I said, I got my start in Top Shot. I got into Ethereum-based NFTs. Solana NFTs is a newer area for me, and that's something we started this show with, the idea in mind of education, right? Covering the news and the stories of NFTs, but also getting into education and, sharing our knowledge and from industry experts. So what better way than to get into Solana NFTs with you today? Before we get into the differences between Solana and Ethereum, just wondering if you can give viewers and listeners out there a little bit of background about yourself and how you got started in the NFT sector.
Yeah. I mean, definitely my background in NFTs, I like to joke about it, but it's not really a joke. I mean, I grew up playing video games like old school RuneScape, World of Warcraft, trading in-game items like spectral tigers, holiday items on RuneScape, trading Magic the Gathering cards, and always had that kind of, trading collectible interest since I was very young. So, when I first discovered NFTs, I just, jumped straight into what I've been doing my whole life. And in a lot of ways, I was trading NFTs before they existed. But basically, skip forward a bunch of years. I studied finance at college, was working as an investment banker for about 4 years, kind of typical traditional Wall Street finance background, and discovered Solana first. My buddy from Cornell, David, put me on. I got in pretty early, but was just a holder at that point, pretty passively just holding the coin. And in August, at the start of August, I minted my first ever NFT, which was Solana Monkey Business, and went down a massive rabbit hole of just building a DAO, going all in, putting my life savings into NFTs, and basically all gas, no brakes.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot to unpack there, Legend. We'll break down some of those key details you shared. So, as I said, we wanted to get into Solana. We actually had a couple comments yesterday. When are we going to hear about Solana NFTs? So, for anyone out there who isn't familiar with Solana, can you just give us some of the key differences of Solana NFTs versus Ethereum NFTs?
Yeah, definitely. So the first thing people need to know about Solana NFTs is that they're SPL tokens as opposed to ERC20. So all of the benefits of the Solana blockchain in terms of low fees, instant settlement, kind of really fast transactions, high throughput network, all of them apply to Solana NFTs. In other words, you can transfer $100 to a Phantom wallet, and that's enough money for 40 or 50 years of gas. And people, can really just mint NFTs on the fly. They can use the Phantom app, which just came out. There's a really good wallet on Solana called Phantom, and it's just really a smooth and seamless kind of experience, but it comes at the expense of a lot less liquidity and a much newer space. So the biggest difference between Solana and Ethereum NFTs is just how new Solana NFTs are. There basically wasn't an ecosystem before August. So, all these tools you guys are used to on Ethereum in terms of Genie, Dune Analytics, all these like awesome, ecosystem tools. You guys have amazing choice of marketplaces. It's all very new on Solana, and kind of there's a lot less liquidity. So, it's kind of like small potatoes NFTs, but it's getting bigger and bigger. I say small potatoes when the market cap of all the NFTs is like $1 billion. So, it's getting bigger pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear more about Solana NFTs than I did, when I first started in the sector. So, for people out there who maybe don't know what some of the biggest Solana projects are, right? So, in terms of Ethereum-based NFTs, we hear a lot about CryptoPunks, right? One of the first ones. It's one of the most valuable ones. And we also hear about Bored Ape Yacht Club a lot, right? It's one of the most valuable, one that a lot of celebrities and investors have gotten into. So can you break down, kind of the history of Solana NFTs? What were some of the first ones, and what are some of the most valuable ones out there?
Yeah, definitely. So the first ever NFT on Solana was Creatures. It came out in like March or April. It basically has no volume, and it was just a very early expression of like what an NFT could look like on Solana. So it's kind of, we tip our hat to the OGs, but they're basically non-functioning project. The first real project to burst on the scenes was first Solarians, which was kind of a robot generative art type little animated pixel art project. But it was very complicated, and they kind of struggled to articulate their value proposition. They also had a bonding curve on mint, which means the mints were getting more and more expensive, and it kind of, messed them up. So long story short, the first kind of true NFT mass appeal project on Solana is called Solana Monkey Business, which minted on August 3rd of 2021. And it's a collection of 5,000 generative monkey NFTs that are very similar to CryptoPunks in terms of like the pixel style art. These are kind of the OG collection on Solana, the CryptoPunks, if you will. And the community is basically the oldest and most respected builders and NFT OGs on the chain. The MonkeDAO was the first NFT DAO on Solana, and I believe it was the second DAO overall. So very, very early days. Minted for about $70 to Solana when Solana was about 35 each, and the current floor price is, you know, $18,000 or $19,000. It's gone as high as 50 something this year. I think as high as 58,000. So pretty crazy return since August, and I was lucky enough to mint a bunch of these.
Awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned, when you got into your start and now talking about Solana monkey business, the MonkeDAO, right? And DAO is a term that we keep hearing more and more about, right? We were just talking about the Ape DAO on a show earlier this week, actually. So can you get into a little bit about MonkeDAO? How does that work? Who can be involved? And why are DAOs so important in the NFT industry?
Man, DAOs are perhaps the most exciting thing about Web3 right now. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. So what that means is it's a new organizational structure that's fully on chain in terms of governance and in terms of participation. So right now, if you wanted to join the MonkeDAO, it would be gated by ownership of an NFT. So basically, if you have an SMB NFT in your wallet, there's an app called Grape verification, which will just verify your Phantom wallet. You link it, and then it lets you into a gated Discord. For the time being, most DAOs live in Discord just because that's the best we have right now. But what really differentiates a Discord group from a DAO is that in a true DAO, there's a system of on-chain governance. So that means they're using an app like Squads on Solana. I'm not sure what they're called on Ethereum, but it enables kind of real-time voting and polling and kind of surveys and stuff to actually make governance decisions and decide the future of the organization on-chain.
Gotcha. So kind of speaking on NFTs as a whole and Solana versus Ethereum, what would you say that makes NFTs kind of more accessible on Solana over Ethereum? Sorry, I couldn't get that word out.
I think overall it's just the affordability. Like the game on Ethereum is pretty tough at this point in the sense that the market's extremely saturated. And it's kind of a whale's game, especially if you're talking about the top collections. Like owning a $500,000 Bored Ape is just completely out of reach for the vast majority of people. And the people who are driving the most volume are, a group of 200 or less people globally, right? And most of them know each other. And it's not to say that necessarily there's collusion or anything like that, but that's just the nature of the game right now. Mm-hmm. But on Solana, it's so early and the space is so in its infancy that the true blue chips are still like in the making. Like people love to say on Solana, oh, this project's a blue chip and this and that. But it's really hard to even ascribe that title before years have gone by,
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. What do you think led to Solana being kind of almost a second runner-up to Ethereum over Binance Smart Chain, which Binance Smart Chain is a little bit older and it's pretty much the exact same thing as Ethereum, just a clone and on their own mainnet. But what do you think led to like more success on Solana over, like, say, Binance Smart Chain?
Yeah, definitely. I think Binance Smart Chain, it kind of got a bad rap, and I don't want to FUD them or anything, but it kind of got a bad rap for just like a really complicated marketplace where you couldn't really differentiate a good project from a bad one. Yeah. And just the sheer volume of projects on there led a lot of people to have like a pretty bad experience early on in terms of like minting something, not even being able to find a secondary market for it afterwards, and just getting kind of lost in the tide. I think one of Solana's biggest competitive advantages has been the Phantom wallet itself, which is extremely clean and just Honestly, one of the best wallets, like period. I've used MetaMask, I've used TerraStation, I've used Near Wallet, I've used a lot of different wallets, and Phantom blows them all out of the water.
Yeah, they've been on the Moon or Buzz show. I actually was co-hosting on that and then moved over here. But we had him on we had them on the Moon or Buzz show, and it was fascinating to hear what they had to say, how it all worked. And honestly, it was the day after Solana kind of they had that big, well, it wasn't really a rug pull, but there was something that happened with the nodes and everything, and pretty much the blockchain shut down. So it was really cool to have him there to explain why this happened, and it wasn't anything crazy. It was just, these things happen sometimes. What do you think about NFT marketplaces popping up randomly that are just maybe OpenSea clones, especially for Solana only, and some of them kind of look a little scammy, or people just don't know how to trust them? What do you think about all, just anyone who can make it and put it on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the Wild West right now, right? In terms of like anybody can just put a dev team together and say, hey, we're going to bring this, or we're going to be focused on one of one art, or we're going to be focused on this. And they're kind of all kind of vying for market share positioning. There's already been like a ton of marketplaces like Solana Art, Magic Eden, Digital Eyes, Exchange Art, Form Function, a new one that just came out. They're all decentralized. So like, it's just a different approach. Now that I've joined FTX, one of the reasons why I did was just because FTX has such a long-term view of crypto that I knew they weren't going away. Like these guys are going to be onboarding the next, hundreds of millions of people to crypto. And to be able to have the continuity to build at a place where like, FTX is incredibly well funded and successful with their own exchange, and to have that security to like just build on a marketplace that's not, that the whole business and the whole ship isn't riding on like the one, product, was one of the big factors that that kind of convinced me to come over and also like, use the marketplace myself.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's going to segue into the next question here. We've been talking a lot about FTX. Of course, they're the sponsor of today's episode and this show now. And you talk about accessibility, and I want to hear more about, people who maybe have never bought an NFT before. How easy is it to, sign up, get an FTX account, and start minting, Solana or Ethereum NFTs with that app?
It's super easy. And one of the big advantages is that we cater to like a lot of different users. So if you already have Sol in a wallet, somewhere like even a non-custodial wallet like Phantom, pretty soon you're going to be able to just transfer. I mean, you can already transfer it in, but pretty soon you'll be able to connect your wallet. But the easiest way is honestly just to sign up for an account on FTX.US, do KYC level 1, which is just a quick, social driver license, boom, you're in. Then you can purchase, Solana directly with a credit card, or you can use a more.
Looks like we might have lost Legend there for a second. We'll see if we get him back. Brian, you're not hearing anything either. I just want to make sure it's not me.
No, I don't hear him.
All right. So it looks like we lost Legend there for a sec. Yeah, talking about the FTX app. And again, if you're just joining us, this episode is sponsored by FTX. And if you want to hear more about that FTX app, you can find the link in the description below. It's also in the chat here. Again, I mean, you heard Legend say, right? You can use a credit card, right, to buy those NFTs. You can use a credit card to purchase Solana to start getting those NFTs. So, I mean, it's a great way. And again, to really get in as a beginner, right? And that's, again, Brian, I got in through Top Shot, right? And that was the big thing was, the transaction fees were much lower. It looks like we might have gotten Legend back here. Legend, are you there? Oh, I thought for sure we had him, but I'll keep talking here. Legend, if you can hear me, just pop in whenever.
I'm back. Sorry, guys.
There we go. All right. The legend has returned.
Sorry, right? I'm sorry about that. Like, just rug.
No problem.
Like, we have a really complex like security system with VPNs and all this stuff that we have to have on at all times. So, yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, definitely like super excited. Like, just the easiest way, honestly, is just buying, sold right there in your FTX account. And you can trade on our NFT marketplace directly with Ethereum or Sol. And that way, you can have a centralized exchange.
Awesome. Oh man, we might have lost Legend again. Legend, are you there?
It looks like his connection's gone.
Yep, I think we lost him again. So yeah, I'll just ramble on again for a minute until we get Legend back. I'm pretty good at that. So Brian, yeah, I got my start, Top Shot, right? And it was you could buy a pack with the credit card, right? How easy is that, right? When you can just buy it, you don't have to worry about the fees. So I love that. Legend, do we have you back again?
Yeah, I'm back. Oh man, that's
awesome. No,
is really tough, man.
No problem. Well, thanks for breaking down FTX. Let me get into the next question that's actually about FTX. So we said on the show earlier this week, right? One of the things we're always trying to remind our viewers and listeners about is some upcoming mints or drops, right? And we have one this Friday, and it's very exciting because it's from FTX, and it is the Coachella NFTs. And this is really cool because it's actually the first time Coachella has ever offered lifetime passes to that music festival through these new one-of-one collection of 10 NFTs. But what I really like is there's also 2 other series with lower price points to maybe get some new people into the space. So can you give us some more background and information on that Coachella drop that's happening tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's 3 collections that are going to be featured. The first one is a Sights and Sounds collection, which is going to be 10,000 NFTs at $60 each. And it's going to be 10 combinations of these awesome like soundscapes and photos that are just amazing audiovisual pieces that are just looping, and like they're also redeemable for a physical art print. So it's a lot of value for $60. That's going to be the Sights and Sounds collection. Then we're going to have a little bit more expensive one called the Desert Reflections collection, which is a commemorative 20-year history piece that's going to be, again, one of 10 digital renditions of a Coachella poster by an artist called Emic. And these are, redeemable for physical copies. And the photographs go back all the way to 1999. So it's like that 20-year history commemorative aspect that's sweet. But then the real crown jewel of the collection, and the one that people are most hyped for on social media, is going to be the Coachella Keys collection, which is just 10 keys that grant you lifetime access to Coachella. In other words, a pass to the festival every single April for the rest of your life, as well as virtual experiences. And you get a credit of, towards food and drinks when you're there, all kinds of unique stuff like backstage access, and just basically like the ultimate ticket for any like diehard Coachella fan is going to be wanting to pick one of these up. Because if you think about the lifetime value of, passes every year, plus the unique stuff that you can't get access to, if you're, 20 something years old, use it for 30, 40 years, then you can sell it. Like, it's just crazy. So it's a really interesting use case and a early real life activation for Coachella.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that drop tomorrow. Thanks for breaking that down for us. Again, 3 different collections. I like, the varying price points, and then also the auction of those keys. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be bidding on the keys just because I don't think I have enough to match what people may be bidding. But I mean, I recognize the value. I mean, the fact that you're getting lifetime access, you're getting some of these VIP perks, and then also the virtual experiences, which, I mean, who knows what that could mean in the future as Coachella expands. So Legend, Brian and I tried to guess yesterday, throw out some estimates maybe of where we saw those key prices going. I don't know if you're able to, since you're working with FTX here, but any predictions or thoughts maybe on what these 10 keys end up selling for?
Man, oof. I don't know. It's like, I don't have a crystal ball, but I know it's one of the top festivals in the world, and it's one of the biggest events in the US behind the Super Bowl. So just thinking about, how hard it is to get tickets to begin with, to have, secured access for the rest of your life and never have to worry about ticketing or wait lists or, waking up at 5 a.m. and pressing the button faster than anybody. I think this will go for hundreds of thousands. I mean, don't quote me on that. It's not investment advice at all. Do your own research, guys. But I would be honestly shocked if these things don't trade on the primary for at least hundreds of thousands. And, maybe on the secondary, once some of these utilities get more fleshed out, who knows, could be even millions.
Yeah, like Humphrey Yang in our chat said about the amount that I said yesterday, 500K minimum to like,
Yep.
a couple million at the top. And, it does sound outrageous, but it's crazy how things go in this space.
Yeah, I mean, that was my guess yesterday was 6 digits. Brian was on the higher end saying, in the millions. And I think really somewhere in that range, I think is what we're going to see for those keys. So Legend, thanks for giving your take there. Again, not financial advice. We always stress that on the show, but I mean, it's great utility and great use case there if you're able to get one of those keys. Legend, I want to turn for a sec. We're Benzinga, right? We started as a stock market news site. We've evolved over the years, offered lots of other projects, and obviously now covering cryptocurrency and NFTs. So one of the things I learned covering the stock market and investing myself is diversification, right? So within the crypto and the NFT space, is there a case maybe made for people to diversify and have, some Ethereum NFTs, some Solana NFTs, and some NFTs on other blockchains? Is that something, that you kind of think people should at least educate themselves and look into?
Yeah, definitely. No doubt. I mean, I think that's a really good approach. It's good to take like high conviction bets, in my opinion. Like, this is not investment advice, but I like to kind of bet pretty big on a project when I'm, very confident in the team and I see big upside. But what you mentioned is exactly, I think, the right approach in terms of, having a good kind of foundation of, savings plus, maybe some equities and cryptocurrency holdings from various chains. And then in terms of NFTs, diversification can prove to be very big because, if you get in early to a layer 1 chain like Solana, Near, Luna, you can scoop some NFTs that are part of the chain's history and then basically ride the wave and ride the success of that chain with kind of a multiplier on it. Because, to the extent that Solana becomes a great, layer 1 in the world, well, obviously like the first PFP on Solana is going to do pretty well, right? So it could even outperform the coin. Like, not investment advice, but it could happen. And that's kind of what I see like sophisticated investors in the NFT space doing, is going to chains like Near, going to chains like Luna, and buying NFTs really early on just to make an asymmetric bet. If this chain really blows up, I'm exposed to it.
Yeah.
Love it. So, you mentioned maybe being early, Legend, and that's something, we talk a lot about in the crypto space and the NFT space, right? Is being early. Well, something that's happened over the past couple months, in a rapid pace is celebrities and athletes getting into NFTs, right? And a lot of them, are getting in now after some people, were already in and exposed to the space. So turning back to Solana, have Solana NFTs seen heavy interest from, some of these celebrities and athletes? Or is that something that's going to continue over time and maybe prove that we're still early to some of these Solana NFTs?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Ethereum continues to dominate in terms of volume and liquidity. And that's what we've seen on the marketplace as well, right? So like at FTX, we offer gas-free trading. So you can trade Ethereum NFTs without gas. And that's been a huge, huge selling point for us relative to like OpenSeas of the world. But whereas you see like AAA celebrities buying Bored Apes or, a certain company buying them for them, on Solana, it's a little bit more, slow. We definitely have seen some major celebrities come in like Steve Aoki, Dylan Francis, major artists and athletes as well, like just coming in, but they're kind of wading in slowly. I feel like Ethereum is still top of mind, and it's just more proof that Solana is still in its infancy, really.
Yeah, definitely. And I saw a couple people mention Shaq in the chat, and I was looking at his Twitter, and it looks like he's gotten into some Solana projects as well. So nice call out there on celebrities. I mean, that's something we obviously track, being a media site and also covering on this show. So we're always interested in hearing more on that space. Brian, I think over to you here.
Yeah. So with the Coinbase launch, do you think that's going to help Solana and their NFT platforms? Because we think that it's going to they're going to compete with OpenSea, and in my opinion, that it's going to maybe open it up to these newer other chains where the gas price isn't so high, or it's not like so saturated with different projects everywhere. Well, I guess he's gone, but what do you think, Chris? What Oh, no.
I'm muted. I was like, I'm muted. We lost Legend again. Yeah, I
fell
mean,
apart there.
yeah. So, I mean, I think that's an argument that we've been making for a while, right? Is that, well, it looks like maybe we got Legend back. Is that, the Coinbase launch and having, like FTX, right? Where it's easier because you already can buy crypto right on the platform. I think versus OpenSea, where, you have to connect your wallet, you have to have crypto in your wallet in order to purchase. Legend, were you able to hear that last question, or should Brian repeat it here?
Yes, I was. So yeah, I think on that point, like definitely it's a big advantage to be able to just buy and trade and do everything in one place, especially as FTX continues to build out its platform, right? It's not just going to be crypto, it's going to be stocks, eventually it's going to be everything. So it's kind of like that one-stop shop where you can do everything you need to do in terms of DeFi, NFTs, crypto, and equities in one place, which I think is a strong selling point in a world where there's like an app for everything, and I have to download an app for a calendar, and I have to switch applications 24/7.
All right. Yeah, I totally understand that. Sorry. It's been the allergies are killing me over here. It's I don't know, it's cold and snowy everywhere else, but in Tennessee it's just still just nonsense. It's awful. So how much time do you spend in Discords a day? Are you a big active member in like Discord or other social medias like Twitter?
Oh man. Yeah, I definitely have been extremely active since August. Like the first time I ever used Twitter was the day of the Solana Monkey Business Mint. I had never used it before, and I totally yeah, I mean,
So how do you balance it between all your projects that you do?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is I spend more time in Twitter and Discord than I'd care to admit. Like it's really embarrassing, actually.
You'll have that. I can understand that.
It's hard to balance though, like the real life responsibilities of like work, relationships, and like it's just like such a time consuming thing, but it's so exciting that I find myself like so hard to like even look away. And when I miss like one day, I go to like the doctor or whatever, and I miss like one day, it feels like I've missed like weeks of events. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I went on vacation. Yeah. I went to Disney a couple weeks ago, and oh man, like it was so hard to take that break to like go to the parks. Obviously a fun vacation, hanging out with my family, but then like you go and you look at Discord and see the number of notifications and the numbers, and it just kind of messes with you mentally. And like sometimes you almost have to take a break, but if you ever take a break, getting back in is just like so overwhelming. So it's insane. And I mean, I would say that between Twitter and Discord, I also would be probably embarrassed to admit at the amount of time that I spend, but it's necessary to be able to keep up with this sector and really dive in. So it's what I do.
You're absolutely right though. It's so necessary. Like if it's like, if you're objective about the NFT game, it really is just like a war of information, and like whoever has like access to better information and who's a little bit quicker and that sort of thing is going to have a huge edge.
Mm-hmm. With mine, if you look at my screen time on my phone or on my computer, I mean, it's basically just 24 hours a day. It's nonstop because, this part of the job revolves around finding news and then finding other people to do spaces, learning about them, and finding projects to talk about or invest in. And then before that, it was all about altcoins. And when I was big into trading, I mean, you're stuck in your phone trading or doing something at all times. It's kind of rough on your eyes and your psyche for a little bit. I've made a lot of hard stops, but I also don't have, I don't have to be on the socials or people are depending on me to do so. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing that I wanted to ask you is if you could like name your top 5 projects. They can be on any chain. What would they be, and how would you kind of rate them? Big or small, it doesn't really matter. Don't just think
Yeah,
only Bored Apes, but yeah,
definitely. I don't know if my connection is solid.
you're good, or you kind of lagged out.
Oh man, he said, "Is my connection good?" And I heard him perfect, and then right after he said good, I think we lost him again. So I'll just hit back on the Discord and the Twitter. I mean, Brian, I think we talk about that a lot, and obviously if you want to be in the NFT space, crypto space, you got to spend a lot of time. You got to kind of commit to it, but also make sure that you're able to balance everything else. It looks like we got Legend back.
Okay, I'm back, guys. I did hear the entire question.
Okay, go for it.
And then I opened my mouth to answer, and I got rugged.
I know you said, "Is my connection good?" And it was perfect. And then after the word "good," it cut out, and I was like, "Oh man, it's like he'd like jinxed it."
Man, honestly, like my top 5. I mean, this is obviously like I'm extremely biased, right? Because I hold these projects, so like take it with a grain of salt. And none of this is investment advice, but I'd say number 1, it's probably Solana Monkey Business, just because it's my first NFT. It's the CryptoPunks of Solana. Extremely bullish on a 5,000 collection as opposed to 10,000. Restricted supply. Some of the top people in the world already have one. Steve Harvey has one. Steve Aoki, Dylan Francis, like all these famous people are in. Extremely undervalued relative to Ethereum NFTs. Like in ETH terms, I think it's like, what is it? 18 divided by 2.6. It's like 6 or 7 ETH for one of these, which is like, for such a historically significant NFT, it's kind of a joke. And after that, I'd say probably number 2, really bullish on Champions. It's my current PFP. It's 222 supply. It's a really exclusive community of like top people on Solana, and just like bullish on such a small group of people that can actually do like weekly calls and get together and do something special on the chain, where everyone like almost knows each other and begins to work as a team and kind of like a brain trust. After that, I'd say, man, it's a tie. Like I'm really bullish on Soul Gods. They are a really top project in terms of like just their design. It's a fine art PFP, but they have one of the most amazing communities on Solana, a team that's like just unrelenting, that just never stops. And they're very affordable. They're like 6 SOL each. I think that's, really underrated. And I don't know. I feel like apart from those 3, those are like my 3 that I'm most bullish on. There's another one called Photo Finish Game, which is a horse racing simulator, which is really cool because it's like the Zed Run of Solana, when Zed Run is really like meant to be done on a chain like Solana, where it's super fast and instant settlement, low transaction fees. So Zed Run is obviously on Polygon, but I do believe Solana is an even better chain than Matic for this one. And the team is super stacked. They're all EA sports guys with like 20 years of game experience. They already have a working horse racing simulator that they licensed to CNBC or one of these news channels. And I'm just like super bullish on their team in general. But that's kind of a long-term play, because obviously building a game is pretty risky, and there's execution and design risk and stuff. And my last project that I'm bullish on probably is just the Boryoku Dragons. They're like, honestly, pretty like crazy community in terms of alpha. They're the highest floor on Solana currently, kind of like the Cyber Kongs of Sol. But yeah, I think like between those 5, that's pretty much what I'm most bullish on currently.
Awesome. That pretty much sums it up. Those are, yeah. I've actually now pulled up each one of those projects. I'm going to dive into them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just pulling up Photo Finish, and we got a question from Bruno in the chat who really wanted to hear you talk about that project. So I'm happy that you got into it. But Legend, I actually was in Zed Run, probably, I mean, not the early days, but along the way. And then I kind of lost interest and, stopped doing it. So, but I love the concept, right? So tell me a little bit more about Photo Finish. How long has that been around? And maybe what's the prices here for people to get started with that game?
Yeah, it's pretty old in terms of Solana, and by old I mean it's like a few months old, so it's comical, right? But I think the male studs, so the stylish studs minted on I think in September, October. It might have been October timeframe for like 0.7 Sol. So they literally went for like $70 each, and they're trading for like 6 or 7 Solana each. And then a second collection came out, was partially airdropped, partially minted, called the Fine Phillies. And there's about 5,000 of those, I believe, or maybe even less. I think it may be 2,500. But anyways, you basically breed a stylish stud with a fine filly, and that creates a Gen 0 thoroughbred racehorse. So this is the one you actually use to race and breed and trade in the game. And then all the Gen 1s will breed amongst themselves and create the Gen 0 will create the Gen 1 and Gen 2 and subsequent generations. So it's the start of the bloodline, which gives a huge opportunity because a fine filly is like 25 Sol because they're breedable once, so they're more valuable. But basically you got to try to like get a good rarity, like filly with a good rarity stud, start the bloodline right, and then just start breeding and racing from there.
Awesome. I'm going to have to dive more into that. Brian, maybe we start a horse racing group here and get something going. So
yeah,
I loved Zed Run. I love the concept, but I'm always interested in, different projects. And I really like the explanation there. And the breeding concept and all that stuff. I'm someone who has watched some horse racing, gone to some horse races, bet on some ponies before. So, I like the evolution and the digital side of that world too. So Legend, before we let you go, we did have some questions from the chat, and again, you touched on the Photo Finish one. We did get one earlier talking about OpenSea again. I know obviously we're talking a lot about FTX here, but can Solana NFTs be sold on OpenSea? Can you just talk a little bit about, where Solana NFTs can be bought and sold and some of the differences there?
Yeah, so currently they cannot be traded on OpenSea yet. I think they're working on something, but not exactly sure what the timeline is on that. I think it's like in progress. But aside from that, obviously you can buy them on FTX.US. Just sign up, easy, quick and easy. We have like a selection of all the Solana blue chips, plus Ethereum, plus a lot of other collections, not just the blue chips. Aside from that, I think the prevalent marketplaces like Magic Eden, which is decentralized, that's where bulk of the trading happens. And those are like the two main places essentially on Sol. If you're in the market for like really specific fine art stuff, it may be a different exchange, like Exchange Art or Form Function, which just came out. But yeah, pretty much those are what the options are, and they're not super established yet. So interested to see how OpenSea kind of changes the mix in terms of, taking market share, but also like bringing a lot of liquidity and eyes onto it. So I think it's a net positive for everybody.
Definitely. All right. Well, Legend, I think that's going to do it. We're out of questions. I don't see any more from the chat here. I am going to drop your Twitter handle in the chat again for anyone who doesn't already follow you. But this has been great. I'm looking forward to having you back on the show, of course, if you are willing to come back on, because I know there's more we can get into, more mints we can talk about, and maybe next time you come back, Brian and I have a whole portfolio, full of horses and Solana NFTs to show off to you. So aside from Twitter, where else can people, see and hear more from you? Do you do any Twitter spaces? And I know you're active in some of those Discords. Is there a way to get more education or hear from you other places?
Honestly, the Twitter is the best for me. But aside from that, I do bi-weekly spaces on FTX US NFTs Twitter. So we have a verified NFTs Twitter, and yeah, I run the spaces there, and definitely also in the FTX Discord. I hang out sometimes, so feel free to reach me on any three of those, and always happy to chat. I talk about this stuff for fun, so definitely like hit me up again. I'm super open to coming back on the show.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think Brian and I would both love to have you back, and we'll definitely tune into those Twitter spaces to hear more about FTX. So, Legend, again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, joining us on today's episode, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, guys, and best of luck in your trades and everything you guys are doing.
Thank you.
You as well.
All right. Well, Brian, I mean, oh man, a lot to unpack there. That was so much fun. As I said, I wanted to get educated about Solana NFTs, right? And guess what? I did. I feel like I know Solana NFTs now. I feel like I know the OGs. I know some newer projects. I know some horses. So I know what I want to get into. And I'm definitely going to be checking out some of these Solana projects, of course, on that FTX app. Which again, if people are not familiar with, check out in the description below. That FTX app, and you can get Ethereum or Solana NFTs. I'm going to be buying some horses. I don't know about you, Brian, but what do you think from this interview in Solana NFTs?
I'm all about them. I mean, there's so much, like you said, these projects are ancient compared to, crypto and everything, but they're brand new. So there's a lot of time to run. 5 years from now, no one's going to really realize that Solana was any different from Ethereum, So just keep looking at them and keep growing. And I think that there's so much upside and potential for all of these projects and Solana as a whole.
Definitely. All right. Well, shout out. Thanks to everyone in the chat. It looks like everyone loved this interview. We're getting a lot of thank yous out there. So again, if you're new here, this show airs 2 p.m. Eastern time, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, live on Benzinga's YouTube. You can also watch this after it airs right here on YouTube, and it's also available as a podcast. Definitely hit a like on the stream and also subscribe to Benzinga's YouTube channel if you have not already. For those of you who have never tuned in, we also like to cover the news at the end of the show after our interview. So, Brian, I want to get into a couple news items I saw and I actually wrote about for Benzinga today. Up first, we have news that Yuga Labs, the parent company behind Bored Ape Yacht Club, of course, Bored Ape Kennel Club, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, could be valued at $5 billion with a new funding round. This is pretty interesting, right? But also I hear $5 billion and that sounds like a lot, but I also know there's a lot of companies out there valued at $5 billion. And I would rather own shares of Bored Ape if they were publicly traded because I feel like they've got a lot of growth ahead and an exciting future. What do you think? $5 billion rumored valuation for Bored Ape's parent company here.
I mean, that's a crazy number. It doesn't seem so small though, because we're talking about crypto and, we have so many people in the crypto space that are worth billions of dollars and they got there within the last couple of years, so it's like, it doesn't have that punch as it used to. But if you really think about it and look at all the zeros and look at how much money like a normal person has made, and it's crazy amount with that, all that, like the whole evaluation and maybe the investor and everything like that. With Yuga Labs, it's almost unlimited potential with what can come from that. So they also have a marketing director or a what was it? How was it said? A talent agent, I guess, a talent representative,
talent rep to do some media deals. Yeah, so there's more coming. So yeah. I'm excited to hear more about that, and we'll see if that $5 billion amount really happens. Again, that's a rumor right now. Brian, we talked, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, right?
Like about the past couple days, yeah.
About Disney, right? And I said Disney needs to get more into NFTs, right? And I said that maybe they were working quietly behind the scenes, right? And we just hadn't heard about it yet. Well, then, of course, we shared in these Benzinga channels that we got news yesterday that Disney had a job posting for NFTs. So on their careers site, they are hiring a business development manager for the parks, experiences, and products business segment. And in that job description, it says, you will help lead Disney's efforts in the NFT space, including monitoring the evolving marketplace, setting category strategy, and managing key partners. And it said also to find incremental revenue opportunities. And they didn't stop just there, Brian. That was the new post. I dug in and I searched the word NFT on all their career listings, and there was 4 total. So we had that new one, and then there's also one for a person at Hulu, right? The streaming platform that says focus on how Hulu as a brand can break through into other spaces outside of streaming, including music, gaming, NFTs, crypto, and the metaverse. Then they also have a person they want for the Disney Music Group that mentions emerging technologies, including augmented reality, virtual reality, and NFTs. And also ESPN, the sports giant, is hiring interns for this summer, and they want people who have a strong understanding of new technologies in the industry, including NFTs, cryptocurrency, and blockchain. Brian, I mean, we called it, right? I want to go ahead, get a little pat on the back there, but they also said in one of those posts that the person would join the Walt Disney Company NFT committee. So they already have a committee. So they're clearly working on it. We just haven't gotten the full details, but I think in a couple months, Disney's going to start putting out these news items and start launching some big NFT items. What do you make of all this?
I mean, everything you said is true. I want to say, Disney, if you somehow find this, you got 2 guys right here, right over there. I can't get it. Yeah.
I always point the wrong direction. I always have to think. You have to think about it.
2 people to consult for you right now. Just really ready and willing and able. Just let us know when. Let's make this happen.
Yeah, definitely.
ASN Ethereum.
I mean, I just want to hear, more about it. I really just can't wait till the day where I wake up and there's a press release from Disney, right? And it's Disney is launching a collection of Star Wars NFTs or whatever. And I mean, it's going to be huge. I'm going to write about it and I'm going to buy some, and it's just going to be exciting times. So, I mean,
or like you can make it to where your crypto wallet, you have the NFT in there, and maybe that's your access to be able to watch all the Star Wars whenever you want, that kind of thing. That would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
There's so many possibilities.
I just wanted to follow up. There was a question here in the chat from Tokenizer of Carbon. That's a name I recognize, a longtime viewer here. Wanted to know the link to the horse racing we talked about. So I went ahead and dropped the link there for photo finish, horseracing.com, where you can check out that Solana-based horse racing game that I know I will be spending way too much time on later and researching that project and buying some horses. But yeah, Tokenizer, there's that link. Again, not financial advice. We're starting to run out of time here, Brian. I do know that we have some launches happening. One that caught my eye today at 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's called Raid Party. It's a play-to-earn game on chain, I believe. The public sale is today at 4. They already started selling some of their pre-sale, which had strong reception. They've got over 106,000 followers on Twitter, including a lot of people that I also follow. Their Discord is large. This is a MMO game, right? Which is something we're seeing in the NFT space. So I'll be checking that out at 4 o'clock. I believe they're doing a reservation system, Brian. So there won't be a gas war. You'll go to the site and you'll essentially, click a button that you want to buy one. And then I think it'll be a lottery or first come serve. And whoever gets it will have a day or a couple days to mint it. So we'll see what happens. But that's what I'm watching. We also have the Cool Pets launch happening, but that has been delayed. But keep an eye out on that one. We won't be back with the show until Tuesday. So I'm guessing by then we will have seen that mint. And Brian, I know you've got a calendar alert set, but just a reminder out there for all our viewers and listeners, the Coachella NFTs launch tomorrow. I'm Eastern time, so I call it 1 p.m. Eastern time. It's 10 a.m. Pacific time. So whatever time zone you are, make sure you check it out. 3 different collections. I won't be doing the auction, but I will be trying to get the $60 and the $180 pieces most likely. And we'll see how quickly those sell out. But I am very excited about this drop. What do you think, Brian?
Oh, I am too. I want to go back. I think we talked about the NFL dropping their NFTs yesterday. And they at 5 p.m. Eastern, they dropped the Super Bowl ones. And I almost bought a Rams one for like $2.99 or $1.40, however much it was. I think it was $2.49.
$2.49, I think. Yep.
Yeah, I almost clicked it. I got distracted and walked away from my computer and totally forgot. After it, like I had everything ready to go. I was gonna get it, and I just totally forgot. Come in the next morning, and this morning and check it out. They're selling for like $2,000 a piece now. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the thing with the NFL ones is they've definitely raised their prices as they went, right? I remember when they did the regular season ones, they were $10. I was able to actually buy some of those and sell some of those for a decent profit. Then they started launching the ones in the playoffs. Then, as you said, the cost was higher, right? A couple hundred. Now the Super Bowl one, $249. I will say, though, there is... they are giving away NFTs to everyone who attends the Super Bowl. So that is a lot of people, which means there will also be a lot that people can sell on the secondary after the game. So I'm curious to see what the prices are for that. And this year's Super Bowl is in Los Angeles. So they are also launching a commemorative ticket for each of the previous 7 Super Bowls that were in Los Angeles. Those are going to drop every day starting, I believe, Saturday this weekend. I don't know the price. I would guess probably $249, just like the Super Bowl ones Brian talked about. But those are kind of cool because it'll be a piece of history, right? Past Super Bowls that took place in Los Angeles. And if you want to hear more about Super Bowl and NFTs, next week we will be doing a full episode, or at least a portion of an episode, talking about some of these Super Bowl NFTs, some rumors we've heard, what NFTs maybe could benefit from the Super Bowl. Will we see some Super Bowl commercials related to NFT and crypto? We'll get into all of that in a future episode. But Brian, I think that's going to do it. I mean, what a huge show, right? A great education segment, some great, projects to look at. I know I learned some, like horse racing, of course, that I'm going to go check out. So shout out again to today's guest legend. I know the chat loved him. So give him a follow on Twitter. You can find that in the description below. Brian, anything else before we head out for the rest of the week? And we won't be back until next Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be looking at the horses. I'm also going to be got a calendar reminder for Coachella because the NFL one isn't whatever. I missed it. Okay, this one I'm not gonna miss. There's nothing. I'm gonna make sure that this happens. So I'm very excited about it.
Definitely. All right. Well, you heard it. Not financial advice, but Brian is ready to go get some Coachella NFTs.
That's gonna be me. I'm gonna keep it. Yeah,
and that is
it.
Yeah. I mean, so we will check back in next week and update everyone on that Coachella drop and let everyone know. But that's going to do it for us. Everyone stay tuned. We got pre-market prep at the close coming up soon, where you will get Joel and Spencer breaking down the day of stock headlines. I saw someone ask about stocks in the chat. That's where you want to be. You can hear about the top movers today and also about crypto. And then coming up at 4 o'clock today, we have a special show dedicated to cannabis. And there is talk, Brian, of federal legalization of cannabis. And I know that's been a hot topic over the years. It looks like we're moving that direction. And if we do, what stocks should you be looking at? We'll find out at 4 o'clock today on what that means for the cannabis industry from Benzinga cannabis experts. So I know I'll be listening to that to find out more. But everyone take care, and we will see you next week.